Well, hello, luminaries. It is Leslie Tagorda back for your weekly StarCast. And this week, gratefully, this week coming up, we have a lot of time to put back the pieces and really start to focus. After last week, I know you need a break. Welcome to the Savvy Luminary Podcast, Astrology for Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Leslie Tagorda, creator of the Astrobrand Method, business astrologer, brand designer, author, and Aquarius boss woman. I help visionary spiritual entrepreneurs and impact makers like you illuminate and amplify your unique star powers so you can be the luminary you were born to be. Before we dive into the StarCast, I just wanted to check in with you and just to see how last week was for you with our new moon in Libra, but not necessarily that peaceful new moon that we normally associate with Libra, just because Mars was in there, as well as Pluto really stepping on the brakes before and intensifying all of those fears and deepest hurts before it moves forward. And then even like as yesterday with the great meetup with our, not exactly the great meetup, but a great meetup with the midpoint of our Mercury retrograde joined in with Mars, Sun, and Mercury all just kind of forming. Last week was really, really intense. I mean, I had my inbox and my DMs were just blowing up from all of my beautiful clients, especially my Libra rising clients who are right about in that middle range between like 35 and 45, maybe even just a little bit older. Because just where, for those of us who were born in that time with Pluto in Libra, when Pluto came to that standstill before moving direct, it was just drilling down, really what seems like for the last year or so, on this one place in Capricorn between that 24 and 26 degree part of Capricorn and those late degrees of Capricorn. So if you had Pluto in Libra around that area, that's the Pluto square Pluto, one of the multitude of midlife transits. And if you are a Libra rising with that Pluto in your first house or near your ascendant, you are really being called to shift in your identity. And for a lot of us, it hasn't been very easy. I've heard clients who are grieving not only like parts and pasts of them that no longer fit them, but also grieving people that have left their lives. And as they step into new roles in their family, in their businesses, it has been quite the transition. And as we are feeling into this rawness of this pain, know that you are stepping in, that your potential and your power is getting even closer to the surface, meaning that you have even better access to that. So if you happen to be one of the powerful Libra risings that really felt this identity shift, allow yourself and let go of that blame and just allow yourself to grieve and to feel into that rawness, because something better is on the horizon for you, and we are all meant to go through that process. So just an extra love and shout out to all of my Libra rising listeners, especially if you're in that mid 30s to mid 40s phase. It's been a rough one for you, especially. Well, let's get into the astrology of the week of October 10th through the 16th. We are still in our Mercury retrograde, but now we are on the downhill because we have crested that combus, the cazimi with Mercury and the sun meeting in the sky, signaling the halfway point. So, yay, we made it. And, Venus has moved into Sagittarius, so she's really lightening the load. And this week, our biggest cosmic energy that is taking effect is Saturn now changing direction. Like I was kind of mentioning in last week's episode, normally these outer planets, so Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, just because they're so far out and the sun, and we are moving around the sun so much more quickly, normally these planets appear to be moving backwards from our perspective here on Earth about half of the year. In normal times, all of these planets, because they have different ellipticals around the sun, Saturn takes about 29 years, Jupiter takes 12 years, Pluto takes, 260 some years, Neptune, Uranus, they all take different varying points, but 2019, 2020, 21, almost all of their patterns are lining up so that they appear to be going in reverse around the same time. And this is super, super unusual in the grand scheme of things. And so when we have planets that are changing direction within a really short span of time, Pluto last week and Saturn this week, it really feels like a jolt. It feels especially more challenging. And when things are thinking of like a big train or some kind of big vehicle, a plane or a train or a vehicle, and things are shifting all at once and you're a passenger on that, it's really shocking. It can feel really, really turbulent. So just know that we are all in this together. We're all feeling this. And depending on where these transition points happen on your natal chart, if it happens, in a house of yours or transiting one of your natal planets, you, of course, are going to be feeling the effects much more intensely. So let's dive in. So I wanted to start off this week's kind of intention with a beautiful quote by the Indigenous scientist and professor of environmental and forest biology, Robin Wall Kimmerer. Not only is she this scientist and botanist and just wise sage of all things environmental, she is also an amazing and beautiful writer. If you don't already have her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, I've talked about it before. I highly recommend it. And this quote is from that book. Imagination is one of our most powerful tools. What we imagine, we can become. As we are building up the light and the moon, hopefully you planted your intentions last week with the Libra new moon. And part of what Robin is asking us about this imagination is that we have to create this vision of what we want. By creating this vision of what we want, we are getting clear with kind of the direction and where we want to go. And in that act of speaking out or writing out what we want, we are involving the universe and our spirit guides, or, whatever your own higher power is, we are involving them to support us. And so this week, I chose this quote from Robin Wall Kimmerer because this quote comes from her writing about the honorable harvest that we all need to cultivate, as including the law of the land. And in our businesses, how we live on our land and use the resources of our land, even if we have just completely like online or technical experiential businesses, we are using still the resources because we are physical beings. With Saturn, our planet of responsibility, discipline, and sustainability over the long term, we look at our business systems that we have built and start acting on creating systems that are sustainable, not just sustainable in terms of physical resources, but also like energy resources. So what we imagine for ourselves in our businesses allow us to work with sustainability, or we work till we burn out. What are you creating and imagining? You have a choice to imagine an honorable harvest in your business that works with the law of nature and your natural cycles. Coming up later this fall, I'll be offering another intensive about our sustainable cycles in our business. I don't yet have the dates, and I'm wondering if I'm doing too much. But in the event that you are interested in working with your natural cycles, your natural cosmic cycles, and personalizing for them for you using the sun, moon, Saturn, and Jupiter, head on over to thesavvyluminary.com/harvest to get signed up for that wait list. And you'll be the first to know when I have all of the details set up just for that. Again, thesavvyluminary.com/harvest. So gratefully, we have a pretty easy week this week with just a few big events happening. But this is really giving you time to integrate, because really, I know if you've been like me, you've been still pushing through even with this Mercury retrograde, and thinking about your offers, thinking about calling in people, and just like generally maybe freaking out. Okay, maybe I'm projecting. I'm sorry if I'm projecting. Forgive me. So let's dive into the little aspects that we have. If you need a review on Mercury retrograde, now that we are past that midway point, head on over to my free Facebook group, The Savvy Luminary, or you can always follow me on Instagram at New Moon Creative CO, where we're still posting information on the Mercury retrograde that we are still in. Okay, so we start off the week on the 10th with Saturn turning direct. So Saturn is stopping its retrograde motion and now moving forward, and it'll still have to backtrack a little bit. So Saturn changes direction at exactly 7:17 p.m. Pacific, 10:17 p.m. Eastern, where Saturn's direct theme is realign systems for sustainability. What restructured systems do you now have for your offers? And really just running your business. I mean, I know that your energy is probably pretty low with just all of the things that you have been doing. And so when we look back at Saturn in our business, what is allowing us for mastery? Or are we just moving forward without looking back and without really checking in? So Saturn now changes direction to appear to move forward in the sky today, after appearing to go backwards since May 23rd. In this time, you've been able to get clearer on what in your business has not allowed you to focus on your expertise and your authority. You haven't really had time to master anything, maybe. You now have clarity on what opportunities and containers that best work for you in delivering your offers and calling in your aligned soul customers with your specific energy, time, and monetary resources. Note what you've had to let go in order to focus on delivering at your highest abilities. That is true responsibility and mastery that Saturn really wants you to have. So review the 7 degrees of your chart between Aquarius of 6 degrees and 13 degrees, where Saturn is highlighting. So this is the area of your business where you are being called to focus and master. Now through January 16th, you will rebuild according to this new structure. Now, this will be especially activating for fixed signs, so Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquariuses, and especially supportive for air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So today, Saturn stops at 6 degrees of Aquarius and now will go forward, retracing its steps to Aquarius of 13 degrees now through January 16th. So if you have any of those kinds of early mid degrees of Aquarius in your chart, if you have any natal planets, those are going to give you some voice into your business, some insight into your business, where you need to kind of tighten in the belt, put in more constraints. So for example, if you have Venus in Aquarius in those degrees, you're really kind of looking at, what relationships you might need to rein in and control. If you have your sun there, you might have to determine what you are doing, what you need to rein in for more mastery. If you have Mercury in that part of Aquarius, Saturn is asking you, hey, how can you say more with less? How can you rein in and pull back everything that you said? So take a look at your chart, Aquarius of 16 degrees to 13 degrees, because Saturn is asking you to rein it in, to master in that one area. Okay, fast forward to to Tuesday, Mars Day, Action Day. We have our second quarter moon in Capricorn at 20 degrees at exactly 8:25 p.m. Pacific, 11:25 p.m. Eastern, where second quarter moon and on our Mars Day, act and focus. So Saturn really is the theme for this week. With Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So we're really being asked this week to kind of rein it in and focus. What do you need to stop doing in order to take a concentrated effort? Honestly, I write these things mostly for me and hope that it'll serve others, because I'm really the medicine that I write, if we look at this as medicine, is really things that I need to do in my business. So hopefully this serves you as well, because I realize I've been doing so much lately, all within astrology, but I need to focus a little bit better and strategize a little bit better. Okay, Saturn, I hear you. With the moon at the second quarter phase and gaining light, it is time to initiate and take action on your goals and new moon intentions from last week. No more planning, no more thinking. Time to take focused action. In Capricorn, action is through focusing on your goals and prioritizing actions. This is strategy. At the same time, Jupiter is stalled, drilling down before moving direct in a few days, reminding you to not overextend yourself with all the things. Focus your action on what you're good at, your superpowers in your business. Okay, Leslie, I wrote this, probably several weeks ago, and I'm listening to it now and I'm like, how did I know? Because I needed that, especially activating for cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, and especially supportive for earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. All right, so second quarter moon at Capricorn of 20 degrees. On Friday, on Venus Day, the 15th, Sun trines Jupiter retrograde. But Jupiter is really stalled at this point, because Jupiter is going to go direct in just a few days on the 18th, along with Mercury going direct. So we can look at Sun trine Jupiter at a complete stop, officially in retrograde. This happens in the wee morning hours at 4:46 a.m. Pacific, 7:46 a.m. Eastern, whereas Sun trine Jupiter, vibrant, visionary expanse. So this is a little bit contrarian to what I just talked about Saturn, because, Jupiter wants to expand, Saturn wants to bring it in. So it creates this real potency. So what do you do that you need to share with a wider audience? This is such a lovely energy, optimistic, expansive, and gracious. You want to shout out from every rooftop how brilliant you are at what you do and how grateful you are for all of the challenges you've overcome to get where you are in business. Now, noting back to last week with the new moon in Libra with Mars and that Pluto stationing, it's really time to look at the challenges that you've gone through and reframe how those challenges have gotten you to where you are now, and to really be grateful for those and honor it through Jupiter. It's definitely a day you want to share your brilliance so that it can ripple forth, to invite others to share, to have it reach even further. Let go of expectations. Let your vision free to expand. At the same time, Mercury retrograde and Chiron face off exactly with each other in the sky. This is giving you deep insight as to how to communicate and express your past challenges that you've worked around, adapted, and reconciled. Remember, these are your wounds as gifts that you're meant to offer in your business. I know that I need to create a episode around Chiron and how we reframe those adaptations and work it into our businesses. Truly a gift. Get on that roof and share your vision of the world that your business supports. The sun will be at Libra of 22 degrees, trining Jupiter retrograde at Aquarius of 22 degrees. So radiant for late degrees of air signs. If you have any late degrees of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, anything natally for your angles or planets, these will be super supportive with Sun and Jupiter at Aquarius of 22 degrees. All right, that's all I have for this week. Just 3 big transits already kind of in the soup of Mercury retrograde and just everything else that is going on. Just relax, spend some time, focus, rest, do what you need. All right, luminaries, I'm really looking forward to continue to connect with you. Please share this episode with other business friends that you know that may find this helpful, and do a woman a favor and give her the best gift that you could probably give her. Please consider leaving a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or for my book, Star Powered Brand, on Amazon. I'm currently working on a second edition, a new chapter. All right, I'll talk to you soon. If you love this podcast, please consider doing me a favor and heading over to Apple iTunes and leaving me a rating and review. Your rating and review helps this humble podcast get seen and found by more listeners like you. Please share the love.